I'm going to show you how to do Judy's Magic Cast On, and I'm using worsted weight yarn and size 7 needles so that it's easier to see what's going on. You're going to hold your yarn across your index finger and your thumb. The rest of the yarn is held down here in your fingers. And you're going to hold your needles in your right hand, if you're right-handed, and pointing towards the yarn. You're going to put the yarn in between the two needles. Hang onto it with your finger. Bring the yarn that's on your thumb down, across, and up in between the two needles. Hang on to it. Come back. Twist. The yarn that's across your finger is going to go over the top of the bottom needle and in between. Yarn on your thumb, between the needles, then over top. Yarn on your finger, over top, then between the needles. You keep doing this alternating movement until you have the number of stitches that you want. I'm going to cast on fewer stitches than you probably want for a sock toe. I just want enough to be able to show you what I want to show you. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We'll do one more. 10. Okay. When you're done, take the tail of your yarn, which is the one over your thumb, and bring it across the top of your working yarn and hang on to it. And now, this is really important. Don't twist your needles. Don't do anything weird with them. Here's where they are. Spin them. Just 180 degrees spin. Take your bottom needle, pull it out, and we're going to use that to knit across the top. And all we're doing on this round is just knitting every stitch. The cord on my needles is a little bit short for this to be comfortable, but that's okay, it'll work. When you get to the end of the needle, same as before, just spin it in place. Pull your second needle in, pull your first needle out, and knit across the other needle. For our next round, tighten that down a little. For our next round, spin, don't rotate, just spin. Our next round, we are going to pull up stitches from the outside edge on each end of the sock, on each needle. My stitches don't want to move. There we go. And that will help make a more rounded shape to the toe. So we're going to look here. We've got the stitch that we just made and the stitch below it. We're going to pull that stitch below it up onto the needle and knit it. Knit the stitch from the row before and knit across. When we get to the last stitch, here's the stitch that's on the needle. We're going to make a stitch out of that, a new stitch. So here's our new stitch There's the stitch we just knit out of, and we want to go below that, the grandmother stitch, and we're going to pull that up and knit through the back loop. Spin your needles. And we're going to do the same thing on needle 2 as we just did on needle 1. So we look to the stitch below the one that's on our needle. Pull that up, knit it, knit the stitch that was on our needle, and knit across to the end. There's the stitch that's on the needle. There's our new stitch out of it. So our new stitch, the stitch that was on the needle, and the stitch that was below that. Pick that one up and knit through the back loop. Spin your needles in place. One needle out, one needle in. On this round, we are going to do a yarn over increase, 3 stitches in from each end. So there's 1, 2, 3, yarn over. Knit until you get 3 stitches from the end. 1, 2, 3. Knit 3 more stitches. Yarn over. Knit the last 3 stitches. Spin your needles. Same thing. Knit 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit to 3 before the end. Yarn over, knit the last 3. Spin your needles. And you can see that it's starting to kind of want to pouch out. So you can kind of push it down a little bit, but don't really pull on the corners, because the more you pull on the corners, actually the worse it gets. The worse the finished toe will look. This time we're going to do a yarn over increase, 1 stitch in from the end. So there's our single stitch, yarn over, knit the next 2. We come to the yarn over, the previous yarn over, we're going to knit it through the back loop. I find the easiest way to pick that up is to come into the front and spin the needles around each other. And then knit. Knit across, we get to the yarn over, spin the needles around each other, knit through the back, knit 2, yarn over, knit the last stitch, spin your needles, and same thing again. Knit 1, yarn over, knit till we get to the previous yarn over, knit through the back loop, knit across, there's my previous yarn over, knit through the back loop, knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, knit the last one. From here on, we are just going to knit through the back loop of any yarn over. So if there's a yarn over, we're going to knit through the back loop of it. If there isn't a yarn over, we're going to put one. This is why I like yarn over increases. It's one of two reasons I like yarn over increases, is because you don't have to keep track on paper and pencil or some other way as to which row you're on, whether you're on an increase row or a plain row. Is either there's a yarn over waiting for you or there isn't. So knit 1, there's a yarn over waiting for us. So we're not increasing this row, we're just knitting through the back of any yarn overs that we find. This yarn and these needles are very sticky. I don't know why. Knit through the back loop, knit the final stitch, rotate the needles, sticky, sticky, sticky. There we go. There's our yarn over. Knit. Okay, there's our yarn over, knit to the back. Last stitch, knit. This time when we go across the row, we are going to add a yarn over. And now it doesn't matter so much. Now you can kind of rotate your needles, however, because now you have enough structure here. You can tell what's what, what's your front needle, what's your back needle. So we knit the first stitch. There is no yarn over waiting for us, so we put one. And you're going to continue like this, either knitting through the back loop of a yarn over or adding a yarn over the second stitch in. So you do the first stitch, and then the second stitch should be the yarn over, until you have the desired number of toe stitches on your needle. There you go.